Very good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Friday, the 18th of April, 2025. We'll start by looking at the synoptic picture and beginning yesterday at midday. Quite a good day we all had yesterday. Smallish grid, but I think everybody that went flying had a good time. And there was plenty of club gliders and private gliders going from the club launch point. So we can see we had that nice clear air with the low pressure centered off to the west. Cycling through now to midnight last night, you can see the center of that depression with some occluded fronts making its way towards the southwestern tip of the UK. By 12 o'clock today, you can see we've got these reasonably weak fronts, but got an occlusion here followed by a cold front. They're working their way in. And then by the time we've gone through to midnight tonight, this sort of stalled, not made much progression, almost stationary over Lasham there. And moving through, it begins to move away now. And some clearer air looking into Sunday. And towards next week. Fortunately, with the weather we got today, it's bringing low cloud, and we're expecting quite a bit of rain later on. The time at which that arrives is a little bit ambiguous at the moment. I'll show you the sat pics, but unfortunately, it's only showing me yesterday. So we'll have a look at the rain radar, and you can see quite a lot of precipitation. I'll just zoom out to see the whole of the UK. Lots going on here, all associated with that depression. But we've seemingly been spared more or less here. But you're just starting to catch the eastern tip of those bands of rain. If we look at the Met Office forecast for precipitation, you can see, bring us down. We cycle that through. As he's getting close to us, but it's generally fizzling out before it actually reaches Lasham. And we're through to about 3 o'clock local now, and we still don't appear to have had any. And then later on tonight, it may very well hit us. So we'll see how it actually plays out. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll look at the Farnborough TAF. They're showing harmful 0 degrees, 6 knots, cab okay. So they're not predicting anything of concern. I'd love to show you the upper winds, but the Met Office aren't playing ball again. So we'll just have a look at the general flow on windy, and we can see very much a southeasterly flow, reasonable amount of strength, and we're expecting probably about 10-15 knots, gusting up towards 25 in the strongest part of the day. And looking at the local Met Office forecast, just confirming all of that. Fairly brisk southeasterly breeze up to 15 knots, gusting 25-26, with reasonably good visibility and moderately high humidity level. Temperature around maximum 11 degrees today, feeling a bit cooler with that wind, so we want to wrap up. And the lower cloud beginning to come in around 11 o'clock, and Met Office suggesting rain or showery rain from about 2, and certainly quite heavy rain later on this evening. GFS painting a slightly better picture in terms of temperature, suggesting we could get to 13 degrees and a dew point of around 7. Looking on the webcam, just refresh that to the on the south side, looking west, you can see evidence of that fairly brisk wind there, and this high overcast that's going to be slowly working its way down and thickening as the day goes on. Temperature here at Lasham, we're up to 9.8 at the moment, which is slightly more optimistic than what the Met Office suggested, but more in line with the GFS. And if we move on to SkySight now, you can see not particularly optimistic picture, suggesting a little bit of cumulus around midday though, and possible thermals of 2 knots up to about 2,000 feet above Lasham. So we'll see if that transpires. Otherwise, it's completely overcast, both high, mid, and low level all day. They're suggesting the upper wind being south easterly, becoming a little bit more southeasterly, around 35 knots at 2,500 feet. We look at top meteo for significant weather starting at 9 o'clock local. We cycle that through. We can see all that weather moving in, the very low cloud and rain. A little bit of drizzle leading on the front of that, but this is now 5 o'clock local. So they're suggesting that we're not going to get that rain until well after the flying days, main day's flying activities have been complete. And yeah, so we are expecting that rain, but I think we'll all be finished by that point. If we look at NOTAMs, just the one to affect us today, not that I don't think it will affect us, but we've got 18, and that's as usual, Boston, Stacey, and where they are live firing. Look at the local airfield brief quickly. Start with the ODM cross section. Being the bank holiday, they've given us predicted thermal strength there, suggesting at midday 3 to 4 knots. So we'll see if that transpires. But slightly more optimistic outlook, not suggesting the cloud being quite as low. It looks fairly accurate at the moment, but getting this broken overcast stratocumulus from about 12. Other forecasters suggest that might come a little bit earlier, but we'll just have to wait and see. On the wind front, southeasterly, gusting up towards 25, 26 knots, and they've put a warning in for strong wind. There's no significant weather in the early part of the day, and there's likely to be some light rain later on this afternoon. Flight bookings, there's just the one K21 on booked instructional flying today. There's a K13 for trial lessons, but we will have K21s available if you'd like to use that. There's a K21 for the casualist and club members, and plenty of single-seater availability. We have nobody on the casualist at the moment, but if you're an instructor, I'm sure if you want to come out, somebody will appear, and the simulator is available as normal. No 2XL movements today. And in summary, we have low pressure centred to the west of the UK, bringing approaching fronts. Moderate winds gusting up to 25 from the southeast, so we'll go on runway 16. Cables on the grass to the east and aerotoing from the west. Please be ready when the cable attack arrives, and do not land or taxi on the disused runways shown here in red. That'll be your airfield setup, again with the winch to the east, aerotow on the west, launch point vehicle up near the threshold, and make sure we're landing either side well into the airfield if need be. That's all from me today. Fairly quiet one, but there's plenty of flying to be had, so I'll see you out there shortly, and keep it safe. Thank you.